So, hello Nuno. Thank
Hello.
you for being with the World Blasting Innovators today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. Looking forward to it.
Oh, and don't forget that Carlson is going to be there.
We're looking into it. We believe it's a very interesting project, and we certainly would like to participate and contribute to this initiative, which we believe it's positive in terms of bringing more life, more interest, and a little bit of a new energy and a new concept to the industry, which we need, and that's always welcome.
That's exactly the point, actually. Can you introduce yourself for the people that will be watching us?
Well, my name is Nuno Fernandes, and I'm the director of sales for EMEA and LMD with Carlson Software.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been with the company for this year. Actually, will be the 20th year.
Oh,
which it doesn't
wow.
seem like it, but it's.
So you have a lot to tell us, probably.
I have a lot of stories, a lot of interesting evolutions that we've witnessed throughout the years. But yeah, it's.
So maybe you are the best person to ask how this Carlson, how everything began. What is the backstory of Carlson?
Well, Carlson is, I would say, it's a story of pure entrepreneurship in the States by Bruce Carlson.
Okay.
He's the CEO and the founder of the company.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this story briefly. He went to Dartmouth, and at the time when he went to that university, computer programming had been invented. So regardless of what you were doing, if you were going to the medical field or a carpenter, or in this case, civil engineering or surveying, you were going to learn coding.
Okay, makes sense, yeah.
He's learned his background in surveying and civil engineering, and then by utilizing his knowledge in coding, he decided to do what was the first pure land surveying
Okay.
CAD-aided design software for the industry.
Pioneer.
So it was a little bit of a pioneer in that sense, and that's essentially how we started. So we come from a deep and very well immersed in development of software in the applications of surveying, construction, and later on into mining.
And do we know it started in USA, but now you have a foot globally, right?
Yes. So the company was initially started in Maysville, Kentucky. So that's the headquarters. A small
Nice
little,
place, maybe.
yeah, very small town.
You have been there already?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's located in Ohio Valley. So again, a lot of old country hardcore surveyors, a lot of coal mining.
Okay.
So we're pleased to be located in such a beautiful part of the United States, and yeah, in recent years we've opened up the EMEA division that
Okay.
takes care of obviously Europe and this corner of the world,
Okay.
and then in addition to that, Carlson LMD, which has the umbrella of the laser systems and some of the components that you see here and some of the software. So yes, at the moment we have a global presence in the United States, Europe. We have permanent offices in Canada and in Australia.
Okay. But when you joined the company 21 years ago,
Yeah, it was,
you were only USA, or it was already?
Pure American company. It was yeah.
So how did you get in?
Exactly. I mean, it's interesting story that it just connected some of the dots, and you know I was lucky enough to be exposed to Carlson and learning in construction and surveying mainly, and that's how it started.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you are talking a little bit about innovation, I bet Carlson has a lot of history here.
Yeah.
Maybe can you explain us a little bit how you start with that, and now we have several innovative products. Which one is the most innovative one? If you have any secret projects going on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can bring a testimony to a lot of projects that have been very interesting for us throughout the years. Some of the most interesting and the most, I would say, demanding in this case and recent have been the development of pure core technology, which is something that we thrive on because Carlson Software still is and has the future goals as part of our DNA to be a private company. To be a private company without any kind of outside resources, we need to fight developing our own technology. So we've done a lot of investment in that front. I'll be specific in one of the innovations that we're very excited about. We have recently finalized the second stage of the development of our own RTK system.
Okay.
So we're
Can
able.
you explain us a little bit more?
Yeah. So we're essentially able to track down satellites.
Okay.
And then utilizing chips which we do not currently manufacture in-house.
Okay.
So somebody else's third-party timing chip.
Okay.
We take those measurements, and then we are decoding now the GNSS solution. So we can be a provider, our own provider of GNSS solution. And from our standpoint, it's interesting because we are now able to provide embedded solutions for GNSS. But our system is very unique because it can be decoupled from embedded systems, and it can be installed in a Android tablet or a Windows tablet or a iPhone platform, not initially, but eventually, which then opens up what you can do with the GNSS position without having to buy the full hardware components, and so you can be a lot more flexible. So that's been
But that is out there already, or
that's available at the moment. So.
Okay.
If I were to point out for that that tablet, for example, with the little
if you can
antennas,
pick up to show the
yeah. So this is one example of a piece of hardware that we're simply OEMing. So this is a Windows tablet,
Okay.
and inside of it there's a GNSS sensor,
Okay.
which has its own RTK solution. But what we do is we park that RTK solution. We use ours in addition to theirs
Okay.
by listening to the hardware itself. So
Wow.
one of the advantages there, or from the many, is obviously we're highly developed and tuned to high precision. And some of these already widely available GNSS solutions, they have a little bit of a more relaxed approach to some of the solution.
Okay.
So what we do is by combining our solution, our answer, with their answer, in a sense, the user is going to have a guarantee that it's going to be a valid position, a valid XYZ. So that's one aspect of it. We've done, of course, we are constantly evolving and innovating in the forefront of our equipment, what pays the bills at the moment, obviously. So the core equipment of laser systems, drone mapping, blasting borehole deviation sensors, the machine control segment, which is something that we're going to be investing heavily in 2024. It's a segment that's been well established in the United States and Americas, but it's starting to we're starting to break it out in
To the world.
into the EMEAs and APACs. So that's a front that we're going to be pushing forward.
And you would say that the R&D is all in USA, or is also spread a little bit?
No, R&D actually we have several centers for R&D. Being from Portugal, and you being from Portugal, one that I'm very proud of is we have our development center for GNSS is in Portugal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we've
Nice.
we were lucky enough to be able to develop and pick up some of the brightest minds out there, some of them Portuguese, out in the world, and by enticing them with the warm weather of Portugal, we've
And the Porto wine.
and the port wines and the beauty and all the beauty that Portugal, as we know, has to offer. We brought them to Lisbon, and we have a beautiful office there that focuses on this front of what we call the Carlson navigation,
Okay.
and the Gamma engine. So also bearing name to some of our previous explorers. Carlson Gamma, which has a double meaning, is the
That's smart choice.
yeah. So that development there is done in Lisbon. So some development in R&D that is not done in the States. Of course, we rely heavily in some of the knowledge and know-how in the United States, which is still a forefront for
Of course, makes sense.
for programming,
All started there,
engineering.
so.
Yes. So obviously it's.
But today you are only telling me the good stuff. What about difficulties that you suffered with these innovative products? What was the most pain that you had?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously success. It's never achieved without
Exactly,
pain.
exactly.
And I think you're not succeeding if you're not going through those. But yeah, we've had all kinds of different difficulties. I mean, we've weathered worldwide recessions and crises in 2008 in the States, later on in Europe, which financially they can be final for a private company that does not rely
Makes
on
sense.
outsource. So we've had those kinds of challenges. We've had challenges in technology where, there's no supply, and we have to wait for
Everybody
for
suffered a little bit
pandemics
with
to
it,
end.
yeah.
So we've had those kinds, and
It's normal.
everything else, the challenges that we see in technology, to be honest, they're somewhat of a process, and I don't know if at the end we can call them challenges.
Maybe it's the fun part, actually.
Yeah, it's
trying it and failing, trying it and
exactly.
failing. So
just figuring out ways of not doing it is part of the development.
And I have one last question. Do you guys have a little bit footprints if you are talking about environment or sustainability? What is Carlson paper here in the world?
Yeah, we do. We have some interesting stories there. I mean, we as a company that focuses in land development, we obviously are highly involved in the environment that we exist on. So our company itself, we've throughout the years we've been refurbishing this beautiful turn of the century building that was going to be completely decommissioned and demolished. And in the small town of Maysville, Kentucky, Bruce Carlson and Carlson Software have done a complete remodel, complete redesign of some of the old parks, for example, that we're actually putting I think it's about 8 kilometer footpath and bike path into the community, so that we can go out in walks at lunch and just enjoy the environment. So there's a lot of little projects that the company itself does in these offices, so that we can better our footprint there. In technology itself, we have one interesting one where we develop a software which is essentially designed to allow mine engineers to plan the ending of a mine. So what's the closing of the mine? What will be the footprint of that project?
But they can do it from the beginning, right?
And they do it from the beginning. In these days, you have to submit the close plan in the beginning. So that project is actually a patent technology in the environment, because what it does. What is
the difference from the ones that already exist?
Well, this one utilizes nature and the way the water moves in terrain as it's natural, as it's intended by Mother Nature, and it picks on that hydro flow to reshape what would have been man-made structures with 90-degree corners, stockpiles that are sloped 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Well, nature does not like to do 3-to-1 specifically. Nature likes to follow the path of least resistance, and water does that. So when we're looking at restructuring a hole or a pit or tailings, this technology actually will utilize the way that the water flows naturally, and by doing so, naturally induces natural growth of grass, vegetation as it was intended. So it's a very interesting package that
I never heard of something similar, so I guess Carlson, you are pioneers again on that.
Carlson Natural Regrade, and it's actually won an award in one of the Paris Intermats a couple of years ago, and it's a patented solution for reshaping of land. So
who had the idea,
Yeah, it was Carlson, Bruce Carlson,
really?
as a way to
nice.
As a way to do things. We do a lot with water. And because water is obviously a big part of civil engineering, it's everywhere. So we have a lot of let's say know-how in that front. So that was one interesting project that we've done. But that's one that is completely direct to the environment in this case. Yeah. And
maybe you can show us in World Blasting Innovators next year.
Could be fantastic. We have some universities actually, two universities in Spain that have adopted it in their courses. I think one is I don't want to lie here, I think University of Badajoz, I think uses it, and there's another one in Spain. So yeah, maybe we can invite them as a guest speaker. Yeah, you never know.
To talk a little bit about that project.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for being with me today.
Well, thank you.
I hope to see you in 2024.
Yes. We'll make our best to be there, and we plan to be there. So yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.